그의 영상을 본 중국인들은 열광합니다. 일 잘 풀려라. 조국 인민들은 영원히 너의 후원자야. 당신이 참교육하는 거 참 좋아요. 속 시원하거든요. 짜요. 중국 인민들이 널 응원하고 있다고. 다들 구독부터 하자고. 야, 무조건적으로 널 응원한다. 애국하는 우리의 스타 지지한다. 중국이 아주 경기를 일으키는 그날, 벌써 35주년을 맞았답니다. 그리고 미국에선 한 중국 유학생이 현재 중국 상황과 중국의 변화를 위한 자신들의 노력에 대해서 설명 중입니다. 겨우 20대 초반인 이 중국 유학생은 캐나다에서 눈을 떴습니다.
We'll have you turn on your microphone, please.
Hello. I just want to say I highly agree with my right honourable friend Mr. Zhou just said. The Chinese Communist Party has leased a war on its own people. So that's why I also brought this one with me. This medal was issued to those soldiers who shot students on Tiananmen Square 35 years ago. In normal nations, medals are given to the soldiers who's acting distinguishedly and brave on the battlefield against the enemy. But in China, the enemy, it appears to be its own people. It said commemorative of putting down the riot. Those soldiers get this medal not because of their bravery, but because they're coward. Not because fighting the enemy, but slaughter their own people. And my story begins 5 years ago. 5 years ago today, the 30th anniversary of June the 4th, I took the street for the first time, committing myself into the movement of democracy in China. I was deeply intimidated by the atmosphere of fear cultivated by the Chinese Communist Party in Canada. However, the 2019 Hong Kong anti-extradition movement has further secured my determination of engaging into the Chinese democracy movement. In Toronto, I have actively participated with my Hong Kong friends, organizing support on democracy movement, supporting the Hong Kong people. As someone from mainland China, I have faced huge pressure from my own community, dealing with psychological stress from the harassment of the communist supporters and also the suffering from political melancholy. Things that happened during the protest remind me that the national border cannot stop CCP from spreading fears overseas. Some Chinese, organized and encouraged by the consulate, drove their luxury cars through our protesting line and shouting insults. They burned our flowers at the Statue of Democracy. Some protesters even received death threatening. My life was full of harassment of the strangers. In 2020, Dr. Li Wenliang, the whistleblower of COVID-19 who could possibly stop this global catastrophe from happening, was arrested by the Chinese police of so-called spreading false statement and labeled as a criminal. He died shortly after due to the virus. But surprisingly, I witnessed many young Chinese students attend a memorial event we organized in downtown Toronto, which deeply moved me. I called on everyone to be organized and bound together to overcome the fear and despair and fight for a life of humanity, human rights, democracy, and freedom. This led the founding of our organization, Assembly of Citizens. Over 3 years of COVID-19, the young generation in China has suffered from other human rights disaster. During the White Paper Revolution winter 2022, the Assembly of Citizens is capable to organize events and protest across Canada more professionally, more faster, as a group. Our friend in Europe became the mailbox of contributors and resistance fighters inside Great Firewall, becoming one of the most influential X accounts as Mandarin account. He collected testimony and stories for human rights catastrophes and told those stories has been neglected by the international society to millions of people every day and simultaneously facing the threats of the Communist Party. Our friend in US is making movies, talk shows, and all forms of arts in order to spread the awareness of the oppression of human rights in China. Our friends in Japan and Korea is trying to establish creative business to emphasize resistance as a lifestyle. Through dealing with various issues, we realized how to avoid divisions, build professional organizations, and more inclusive and strong link with other groups. 29 years ago, in this very same congressional hall, Major General Charles Sweeney, who testified about the decision dropping the atomic bombs, used to say, "One can only forgive by remembering, and to forget is to risk repeating history." The last rapid deterioration of human rights under a major power is 1933 in Germany. That year, when they enacted the Enabling Act, which brought Germany under the dictatorship. In that year, Peter Drucker began writing his first book, The End of Economic Man, The Origins of Totalitarianism. Today, as we open this book, we feel if history is actually repeating itself. Let me adopt some of his words in today's situation in China. The Chinese substitute CCP for order when they cannot have a real order, and they worship Xi Jinping when they have no God to worship, showing its very intensity that they must have an order, a creed, a radical concept of man. Military intimidation against Taiwan, the suppression of freedom, persecution against LGBTQ groups, the re-education camps for Uyghurs and Tibetans, and the war against religion are signs of weakness instead of strength. The more desperate the Chinese become, the more strongly entrenched will totalitarianism appear to be. The further they push to totalitarian road, the greater will they despair. However, as soon as we offered an alternative, the whole totalitarian magic will vanish like a nightmare. This is the current situation in China, and this is our mission. We hope we can show all Chinese a new choice, a possibility for democracy and freedom lifestyle with dignity and the value of human rights. Therefore, I believe my colleagues can do their job well. I trust my predecessor from Tiananmen Square generation can cooperate effectively. I trust my allies can stand with us, and I also believe that you can make the right choice. Ladies and gentlemen of the committee, I truly appreciate for listening to my story. We're doing the best we can, but your help is necessary as well. After all, this future belongs to us, belongs to them, and belongs to you. Thank you.
겨우 20대 초반인데 저건 분명 사명을 가진 자의 눈빛이고 진심을 담은 목소리입니다. 이런 젊은이가 정말 중국을 사랑하고 있는 애국자인 거죠. 이런 멋진 사람을 소개할 수 있다는 것은 아주 기분 좋은 일입니다. 근데 설마 저런 멋진 청년을 소개해드렸는데도 지금 싫어요 누르고 불편해하시는 분들이 계신다면 당신은 진정한 중국인이라서 그런 건지도 모릅니다. 바로 장유한 같은 그런 부류의 인간들. 그리고 이제서야 말하지만 사실 영상 초반에 소개드렸던 댓글들은 저 애국 청년을 위한 댓글이 아닙니다. 그의 영상은 중국에 존재하지도 않고 본 사람도 없습니다. 게다가 요즘 중국의 젊은 세대들은 6월 중국에서 무슨 일이 있었는지조차 모르고 있거든요. 사실 영상 초반에 소개드렸던 댓글들은 모두 장유한이 새로 올린 영상에 붙어있는 댓글들입니다. 제가 굳이 영상 번역까지는 하지 않겠지만 근데 정말 기가 차고 우스운 거 한 가지는 말씀드려야 되겠습니다. 그저께 올라온 저 영상에서 장유한은 정말 한국에서 아무 일도 없었다는 듯 또 아무렇지도 않다는 듯 한국 도착 첫날이라는 블로그를 올렸습니다. 한국 도착 인사도 하고 짐 찾고 광화문을 지났다는 이야기도 하고 한식도 먹고 그리고 역시 미용, 피부 관리도 받고 또 그게 광고인 게 너무 티났다는 건 안 비밀인 걸로 하죠. 근데 어떻게 아무 일도 없었다는 것처럼 한국 도착 1일 뭐 이런 블로그를 쳐올린 걸까? 그런 거죠. 난 한국을 아주 객관적으로 보여주려고 했었다. 한국인들이 오해한 거다. 난 원래 이런 계획을 가지고 이런 영상을 올리려고 했던 거다. 봐라, 이 영상 엄청 객관적이지? 한국 가는 거 하나도 없이 한국을 아주 긍정적으로 보여주고 있었잖아. 맞지? 결국 또 이런 식으로 자신의 결백을 주장하면서 결국은 한국인들이 엿먹게 되는 영상인 겁니다. 저 댓글이 눈에 참 많이 밟히죠. 애국하는 우리의 스타 짱유한 지지한다. 대체 누가 애국 중인 걸까요? 진짜 애국자는 조국 땅에 들어갈 엄두도 못 내면서 중국이 깨어나길 기대하며 참 많은 희생을 감내 중인데 저기 애국자 놀이하는 애들은 철판 깔고 한국 도착 1일 이러고 있습니다. 저 애국 청년이 그랬죠. 숭배할 신이 없던 중국인들은 핑핑이를 신으로 섬기고 말았다. 아마 응원할 애국자를 찾지 못했던 중국인들은 애국자 놀이 잘하는 애들을 애국자로 섬기고 말았다. 장현이 하고 있는 짓이 지금 중국의 현실을 그대로 반영 중이다.